All right, let's see who's here. Mireya, Ethan, Karina. I think I had an email from her, but Logan, here's Mayo, Billy, Laurel, Moberly, Lauren, Lauren Moore, Stevie, Darren, Carter, Daniel, Jared, Bill Smith, Bryson, and Clayton. Okay. All right. As promised, we're going to continue with futures contracts for short-term interest rates to manage long-term interest rate risk. Uh, Apparently, there was a very good reason why I couldn't find anything for euro-dollar futures contract. Well, they don't exist anymore. Uh, Kind of a historical note. There was an internationally used short-term interest reference rate. It was called LIBOR. LIBOR doesn't exist anymore. LIBOR was short for, come on, London Inter. I mean, this doesn't happen at home. I'm serious. I mean, I use the same keyboard at home, pretty much same distance. Something is going on here. It interferes with the Bluetooth signal. Every day, every London business day, I should say, banks publish the rate that they were charged uh, to other banks in the LIBOR consortium. These were typically, largest 20 banks in the world, and the average of that was the LIBOR. And it was used as a reference rate for variety of derivative contracts. And a lot of times when you borrowed as a corporation, you were quoted rates as LIBOR plus something, okay? Or LIBOR minus something if your credit was really good. But that system was kind of subject to, not subject to, but prone to manipulation. And we had a few issues where some of the banks kind of coordinated to manipulate that around. One of the reasons is that uh, I'm not going to talk much about this in this class, but we cover that in the derivatives class. There are very liquid and active contracts called swaps, interest rate swaps, where you exchange a series of variable interest payments for fixed payments and vice versa. They are, in fact, the best way to hedge long-term interest rate exposure. Uh, but that system was pretty much based on LIBOR. And let me put it this way: it would not be on a normal day, you would see more than $1 trillion in volume in that market. It's huge, and it's all dependent on LIBOR. So if somehow those banks have an interest to manipulate the LIBOR because of their involvement in these contracts, if they could get away with it, financial players, if they can get away with anything, they do it. So that system doesn't exist anymore since Eurodollar's futures contract was based on LIBOR. Well, that contract doesn't exist anymore. So CME Eurodollar futures, rest in peace. It can be replaced. Maybe I should use my pen to write because this keyboard is going to drive me crazy. CME replaced Eurodollar futures with two products. I should say two new products. One of them is based on Bloomberg short-term bank yield index, BSBY. But if you Google for it, it's asking, did you mean baby? No, I didn't mean baby. And the other, which will start October 2nd, hasn't even started yet, is based on 3-month T-bill yield. Depending upon your interests, either one could be good for you. The difference between the index of T-bill yield and index of short-term bank yields is credit quality. The Bloomberg index actually reflects that banks cannot borrow at a rate that is as good as the T-bills. So if you're doing this for the purposes of doing deals with banks, it's probably a better approach. But either way, the changes over time are going to be pretty parallel. If T-bill yields goes up by 50 basis points, I would be extremely surprised if the short-term bank yield did not go up by the same amount. I mean, there will always be a spread between them, but that spread will remain relatively stable unless there are really troublesome times. For example, back in 2008, the spread between them would have increased quite a bit. Or, last March when what's his face, Silicon Valley Bank went down, you would have seen the spread go down a little bit. So depending upon your needs, uh, either one would be available, suitable for you. If you're managing the risk of treasury bonds, long-term treasury bonds, probably using the futures on T-bill yield is better. But if you're managing risks that are related to general loan products, you may use the BSBY future. I mean, LIBOR in that sense, in spirit, was a lot closer to BSBY index because it was the rate that banks were charging each other. I mean, it's not an exact match, but it's pretty close. Let me see. If you let me do it from scratch, CME, BSBY futures. Come on. And let me actually get that link and post it into the notes.